Page 133, Tractate Bava Batra. We are still in the subject of inheritance. Here we deal with a kind of little different of nuances, real life stories, real try to find a solution to those life stories. Start with the idea that the husband, while he was in a deathbed, divided the estate in a certain way between the daughters and his wife, and the question is how exactly she able the widow to collect estate, especially if one of the daughters is no longer among the living. When and where we call matnat shchivmera, a gift that comes from a person who's in the deathbed, a recognized gift, and when we say that it's inheritance, is Yerusha. In general, the whole concept of shtika, if the wife display equanimity, if she was acquiesced, she kept quiet, does that mean that she is relinquish her right, did not relinquish her right, or relinquish part of her rights? Another subject is someone who decided to disown one of his children. Situation that unfortunately you see it a lot in a modern society, or in a country like United States where we are here. Even in our state and city, New York, you see a lot of cases of family that the father decided the children went astray, they marry out of faith, or all kind of situation like that, and the father decided to disinherit some of his children. The question is that okay by halakha? Is that fair, encourage, discourage? How exactly you treat a situation like that? So we start with Hahu de Amarlo, which is the second scenario, and here we go 2 lines from the bottom of 132. So here's a story of a fellow that was on his deathbed. So he declared, Rashbam explains, before the people around his bed, tilta livrat, vetilta livrat, vetilta leitat. I'm dividing my estate to 3 parts. There's no sons, we assume. 1/3 go to one daughter, another 1/3 go to another daughter, and another 1/3 I'm giving to my wife. And basically we assume that the wife relinquish her right from the other 2/3 that was given to the daughter, because she get part of the estate. But unfortunately, in that case, shchiva chada mibnatei. It happens that one of his daughter died before he died, and her portion consequently returned to his possession. So the question is, since the father, the Rashbam explains, inherited here his daughter, it means that it's go back and being part of his shi'abud, of his commitment toward the ketubah to his wife, because in one hand the Rashbam said it's considering like kind of a new estate. On the other hand, when exactly it takes place, it took place when he inherited, and that soon you see a big discussion. You see it both in the Ksot and Tivot HaMishpat, Rabbi Akiva Iger and others. The question is, when exactly the halot, the effectiveness of the father's decision takes place? Is that apply from the moment he makes this decision of dividing his estate, or only after he is no longer physically among the living? But anyway, Savar Rav Papi lemeimar, Rav Papi hold that the wife la shakla ela tilta. The wife take only the 1/3 of the estate that originally the husband gave her, and she cannot take part of the 1/3 that was given to the other daughter that is no longer among the living. Why? Because she waived payment of her marriage contract by receiving one third of the estate. Page 133. Amar le Rav Kahana. This is a disputable view that Rav Kahana expresses toward Rav Papa, and he said, Ilu hadar kanei, if the husband purchased the estate later, milo shakla, the wife cannot collect it from there, for sure. Even she relinquished her right from collecting the estate of the daughter, because the husband, basically, Rashbam said, makes her partner with that deal. But etzem chiyuv haktoba, his essence of obligation toward the marriage contract, is still taking effect. There is a book called Ayelet HaShachar, and he brings about a question that he said that people ask him, if it's always remain in the state of the father, so why we even ask this question? You have a big mahalach here in our sugya. But anyway, v'keivan de'ilu hadar kanei shakla. So since if the husband later on purchase other estate, the wife can collect from those estate, hashta namei shakla, now she's also takes the deceased daughter's share of as payment of her marriage contract. So basically the Rashbam said the moment that it's returned to the husband, she basically have the right to possess from that returning estate. The third story, here the Gemara relate to some Mishnah we learned in the past from Tractate Bava. Here the situation we talk about a fellow that divided his estate to his sons, and he said to his wife, you receive certain estate. So the moment we learn in the past that the moment she received the estate, she relinquished of her right of the ketubah, and specifically from those estates that he have given to his sons. So here is the situation of someone who is in a deathbed. Hahu defalginu lenichsei leitetei velivnei. He divided his estate to his wife and to his sons. Shayer chad dikla. It was one palm tree that was not distributed as part of the inherited to anyone, and it was basically the future payment of her marriage contract, which was presumably left out of the distribution of for this reason. Savar Ravina lemeimar. Ravina hold that the wife, when things happen and she need to collect the money for her ketubah, for her marriage contract, Leitla elachad dikla. She have only this one palm tree, because if the husband did not leave anything, the Rashbam said, so she lost all of her right to collect the ketubah from any other estate that was given to the son. Why? As we explained yesterday, she have this hana'ah, she have this a pleasure or derivative that the husband make her partner with this. Not everyone goes along with that. Amar le Rav Yemar le Ravina, I leitla, if she have this right to collect from the estate that was given to the son, chad dikla name leitla, she cannot even collect from that one some tree, this palm tree that left over. But you said that she can collect from that palm tree. So the Ella, you have to say that migo de nachata ledikla, nachata nami lechulhu nichsei. Since we said the halakha that she does descend to collect the palm tree, so she basically descend, that's the Tanat Migo, to collect all the properties, which means she received payment of her marriage contract from all properties. So there are a few points we can learn from that. First is the Ran, who said that if, and that's basically the halakha, you see it not only in the Rashbam, but you see it in the Rosh, in Beit Yosef, and more. You see that if someone is in a deathbed, that he divided his estate to his sons at the presence of his wife, and he gave her also a gift, and she was quiet, she was acquiesced. So we always ask what exactly she meant by being quiet. Does that mean that she relinquished her right, full, in part, or not at all? Here we interpreted her equanimity, that she basically relinquished her right to collect the motar ketubah, the part of the marriage contract that left to the son. As we said, that she had this hana'ah, this derivative of pleasure the husband make her partner of his estate. Now we learn from these three stories several important learning. The Rashbam said, number one, the wife is not relinquish her lien or her shi'abud only if it's a parcel of land, but if not for a movable property. Only mekarka velo metaltelim. Number two, that all these type of access or lien that she have toward the property applies also to property that the husband purchased later on, even as a estate that he distributed and he gets somehow back his right. For example, the case of passing daughter. Number three, the whole concept of the wife relinquishes her right is only when he totally distributed the entire estate, doesn't leave anything undistributed. I would like to share with you the Rambam. The Rambam tells us in Ilchot Zechiyah Matana chapter 6, if a husband rendered his wife a partner in his inheritance, though she cannot collect payment of a marriage contract from the property that he distributed to his children, she can collect it from the property he acquired afterward, even if he acquired some of the same property that he distributed to his children due to the death of one of his children. That's basically the Rav Kahana views, and you see it also in Shulchan Aruch Ibn Ezer 106. Now, in regard to Tanat Migo, obviously not only the Ktsot HaChosh and the Tivot, but you see it also in Rabbi Akiva Eiger, the whole Tanat Migo here, Migo, that since she does descend to collect the palm tree, so the idea is that's the Shulchan Aruch Ibn Ezer 106. If one wrote a document granting all of his property to his wife and children, with the exception of any parcel of land that he did not distribute, the wife maintains her right to receive payment of her marriage contract. This is because she can claim that the reason she did not protest the distribution is that she would anyway collect the remaining piece of land first as the payment of her marriage contract, and once she collects that land, she can collect from the distributed property as well. Following the ordinance of the Geonim that payment of a marriage contract is collected from movable property as well, the wife maintains her right to receive payment even if only movable property was left out of the distribution. So here, Amar Ravuna. So now the whole notion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka that said that the person can inherit it to one of his heir, his estate. Amar Rav Huna shchiv mera. Here we talk about someone who's in a deathbed, and the Rashbam said that that applies also to a healthy person. Shekatav kol nechasav le'acher, that he wrote all of his estates to strangers, to someone else, and it wasn't neither a language of a gift nor a language of inheritance. So ro'im, we examine, im ra'ui li'orsho, if this is one of the persons of the deceased heir, notlan mishum yerusha, he receive it as part of his inheritance. For example, son among the sons. So we assume that's the way the Rashbam and Maharik said, that he intend to give the Yerusha to that son. V'im lav notlan mishum matana, otherwise he receive it as a gift. Why? We assume, as we said, that the person will not have expression levatala, in vain. So Rav Nachman commented on that, and he said, Amar le Rav Nachman, he said to Rav Huna, Ganava ganuvei lamalach. Why are you saying your statement in a way of hidden way? You don't bring the source for that. Is viralach ki Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, ei malacha ki Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. If you hold this sentence, Rabbi Yochanan, you should spell it out and say, Ashma tetich ki Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka u de'azla. Because that's basically the notion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Dilma ha ki had kamart da'u da'ava kashachiv. Talk about the person that is already passed away. Ve'amru lei, and they asked him, nichsei leman, to whom you distribute this estate. Dilma liflanya, maybe to Mr. So-and-so. V'amar lehu ela leman, so who else will take my estate? Ve'amart lanala, and we said in this type of circumstance, im ra'ui le'orsho notlam mishum yerusha, if he is entitled to get it as inheritance, so he get it as part of inheritance. V'lav notlam mishum mishum matana, otherwise he collected as a gift. Because when you use the language the Rashbam said, Ela leman nechasai leploni, it carries two different meanings. If the recipient has the right to inherit the giver, that means that it's Yerusha, it's inheritance. Otherwise, it's a gift. So basically what we say, that Rav Nachman meant to tell us that Rav Huna did not intend to say that the halacha follow Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. He just want to say that there is a differentiation between collecting of the estate as a matter of inheritance versus collecting it as a gift. That's the way the Maharsha said. The Rashbam said Maharsha have a different avenue. As we said all the times, we just follow the Rashbam. Amar lei. So now we bring the response of Rav Huna. Rav Huna said to Rav Nachman, Ein hachei ka'amina. That's my intent. I don't have in my mind the idea to rule according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. I just want to say that I agree upon that someone who is in a deathbed, who writes his estate, sometimes it happened that the recipient receive it as a inheritance, and it can be in some circumstance that the recipient receive it as a gift. So now we want to zoom in and understand what is the real difference between receiving an estate as inheritance versus receiving an estate as a gift. Lemay hilcheta. What's the real difference between the recipient receive it as an inheritance or if he receive it as a gift? Savar Rav Ada bar Ahava kamei derava lemeimar. Im ra'ui le'orsho, if the recipient really deserve to receive it as his inheritors. So therefore almanato nizonet min chasav, that the widow receive sustained from his property, as she has the right to be sustained from the inheritance. That's basically what we learn in Ketubot 95b, that she, the widow, can be sustained from the orphan's estate. V'im lav, if it was only given as a gift but not as a right of inheritors, so then if that's the case, en almanato nizonet min chasav, the widow, his widow, is not sustained from his property. Why? Because we explained many times that estate that it carries a lien, as we learn in Gittin in the Mishnah 48b. So the moment that it has a lien, it's a total different state, and the widow cannot possess or collect from that estate that has a lien. Amar le Rava, Rava said to Rav Ada bar Rava, migra gar'a, you mean to say that here you put the widow in such a situation that you diminish her by the gift. Why? Because the recipient receive it as what? As a gift. Hashta birusha deoraita. If a person receive his inheritance from the biblical concept, the Torah said in Dvarim 21, Vehaya biyoman chilo et banav, it happens the day that the person give a yerusha, inheritors, to his sons, and that's what we learn on page 130. So therefore, amart almanaton nizonet min chasav, you say that the widow can sustain from his property. Bematana miderabanan, a gift that was given by someone who is in a deathbed, the whole chalot, the whole effect is only by rabbinic. Biblically speaking, a person has no right to give a gift after he is gone. But the sages put a decree, enactment, that matnat shchiv mera kichtuvim muchvechim surim, in order to make sure that he will be in a proper state of mind and not be in insanity. So therefore, lo kol sheken, that the widow receive and sustain from the estate. Now, the truth is, the Kovetz Shurim and Ksod HaChoshen have a big malach, and is a machloket rishonim, as a disputation among the early rabbis, what exactly matnat shchiv mera, how far you go with a gift for someone who's in a deathbed. Because the question is, if you go by the Rashbam, that is takanat rabbanan. So it's one way, but there are those who say that it's indifferent. It's the whole concept, how far you go with matnat shchiv mera. There is it's a discussion, many. See it, as we said, in the Rambam, in Ksod HaChoshen, Kovetz Shurim, and many more. So Lamarava kidei shalach Rav Acha bar Rav Avia Divrei Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, if a person said to his fellow, Nechasai lecha ve'acharecha lifloni, so if a person said, I'm giving my estate to you and after you to so and so, אם היה ראשון ראוי ליורשו, if the first recipient was fit to inherit it from that person, so therefore אין לשני במקום ראשון כלום, the second gets nothing in place of the first, because it did not receive the property after the first one dies. שאין זה לשון מתנה, it's not a language of a gift, אלא לשון ירושה, it's just the language, the formulation of inheritance. Virusha en la hefsek, which means cannot be stopped, the inheritance. But if the first recipient is not fitting to inheritance, to receive it as a inheritance, he only receive it as a formal gift. So therefore, the words of the one who delivered is taking effect, and the second recipient received the estate when the person is no longer among the living. because the person can circumscribe his gift to only a specific person, but not to his heir. So they said, Amar le Rava le Rav Nachman v'ha'afsekei. He said, but it ended, which means the one who bequeathed it to him ended his inheritance in advance by stating that after the first dies, the property will be given to the second. So, hu savar yesh la hefsek v'rachamana amar ein la hefsek. He hold that the inheritance has an end. So the big question is, what's the language? A gift or inheritance? But he hold the way that the inheritance has an end, and Rachmana, merciful, which means the Torah said that there is no end. So it means that that's the matnei al mashkatu b'Torah, someone who has put a condition over something that is basically contradicted in the Torah, and therefore it's ineffective. But you should know that the Pnei Shlomo, there is a few malachim, Shua Rabbeinu Shmuel and others, that goes in different direction of, there's a few ways. We go by the Rashbam, but obviously there are other explanations. We'd like to share with you the Rambam in the Hilchot Ishut chapter 19. He said, if a person on his deathbed gave all of his property to another, the amount of the property that is necessary for the sustenance of his widow and daughters is withheld from the recipient. Property is also withheld for payment for his wife's marriage contract to their share male offering, as stipulated in his marriage contract. This is because the property is liened as a result of these obligations at the moment the giver dies. That's the sma. Whereas the recipient acquires the gift only after his death. Now the Choshen Mishpat, the Shulchan Aruch Choshen Mishpat 252 said that if the deceased left out of the gift enough of his property to cover these obligations, they are not collected from the property that was given away. Page 133b. Here we're going to bring a story that it's relate to the subject we discuss. Hahud amar lei lechavrei. Here is a story of a fellow that he said to another one, Nechasai lecha, which means I'm bringing my property that is going to give it to you, ve'acharecha lifloni, meaning I'm giving it to you. For example, my name is Moshe, I'm giving it to you, Reuven, and when you are no longer among the living, I'm giving it to you, that the condition is it will be given to Shimon. Verishon ra'ui leorsho haba, which means Reuven was under the category that was fit to inherit him. Shachiv Rishon. So Reuven passed away. Now remember, Reuven is not only the recipient, he is also under the important category of heir, of inheritor. Ata sheni vekatava. Shimon comes in and he said, now it's my estate. Savar av ilish kamei derava lemeimar sheni name kashakib. Originally he thought that the second one is also deserve, which means he should receive it. He divides it with the heir of the first. Why? The Rashbam explained that the only condition is, here is the word of the Rashbam, שהרי לא נתן לראשון, the only story he was given to the first one is what? He given to the first one כל ימי חייו, only during his lifetime. ומתנה אינה מתקיימת כי אם לדעת הנותן, only by the view of the one who's given. So אמר לי רבה, say to Rav Ilish, דייני דחצצתה Hachi daimni, which in a way it's almost like a derogatory statement. Those, like Rashbam or Ben Gershom said, those who are really not erudite, to split it as mamona mutal בספק וחוצצים מחצה לזה ומחצה לזה כדין ממונה מוטל בספק. So it's kind of name he gave them. ברבנו חננאל said חצצתה בית הקברות. So לאו היינו דשלח רב אחא רב אביה. Why? Because that's the whole notion that Yerusha doesn't have an hefsek. Ichsif. So Rav Elish was in a way embarrassed, because it's kind of feeling that otherwise, if I wasn't here, he was falsely ruled. And that's basically, he tried to give him a, he says, the Rashbam said, אילו לא הייתי בכאן, היה דן דין שקר וכל כל דינים שודן שלא בפניי. So therefore, Kare alav, Rava come to comfort him, and he said, Ani Hashem, he bring a pasuk in Yeshayahu, chapter 60, Ani Hashem, I am Almighty God, Be'ita achishena, which means, in the time, בעת שהצדיקים צריכים לישועה, when the righteous people need a help, a salvation, הקדוש ברוך הוא ממציאה להם, the Almighty gives them the way, the healing. אף אתה אני יודע בך שמעולם לא בא דין תקלה לידך. I know by you that you never have this type, שהרי עכשיו זימנה לי הקדוש ברוך הוא קודם שהגעת הוראה ולא נכשלת. Alright, so that's the way he said it. That's Rashbam bring also another interpretation you see in the Ritvine, Tosfot Rosh. So the Rab Meir Chodesh said that the Be'ita Achishena is not only begashmiyut, it's also beruchniyut. But in the book called Igra de Pirka, Ot Kufayin Zayin, he said, Nishma mizeh, we derive from that, Shadayan shu tzaddik, if you have a righteous judge, Af al pi she'no baki kol kach bedinim, even sometimes it can happen that he is not so erudite in a matter of law, Hashem yitbarach mar'eh lo halacha la'amita shelo yikasher bedin. The Almighty guided him to show him how to rule properly. So it means God gives him, he brings the pasuk Elokim nitzav ba'adat kel, that the Almighty is there, that God promised Abraham that he will be there when the judges see it. So in a way God is dwell upon them. I would like to share with you just a vignette from what he tried to say in Igra de Pirka. It's like almost like a Kabbala book. I'm just reading it and try to translate in the very best. אני אגלה לך הנעלם ממך, I will reveal to you something that is hidden from your eyes. מה שיהיה באפשרי להשכילך, meaning as far as your limited capability, כי כוח הבשרי קצר מהציג בעצמו זולת בעזר אלוקי. Human cannot achieve a full understanding without help of God. וזהו ואתה סימן לבניך שעתיד אני להיות ניצב בית הדיינים לעמידם על האמת והם יושבים. כי קצר כוח הבשרי מעסיק דרכי התורה לאמיתה זולת בעזר אלוקי. So basically try to say that naturally the judges, as much as they go to schooling and know, they still need almost like an act of miracle, extraordinary help of God to rule the way it should be. And he explained that's what we understand in the Gemarrah in Brachot, page 7b, Gadol Shimusha Yoter Miyuda. My dear friend Rav Berger of Baltimore, he spent long time after he gets Semicha and everything with Rav Eliashiv, the late great rabbi, just to get they call it in the medical school residency, just to get shimush, because many times you hear certain halachot and it's not really correct, but only when you said, when you meshamesh, when you serving great scholars, so you know when is matir, when you serve. And that's what King David HaMelech said in Tehillim 119, Gal enai, like open my eyes to see the deepest, ve'abita niflaot mitoratecha, which means that he always will be able to understand and to rule the proper way. I must tell you again, my great brother-in-law, Rav David Avram Mandelbaum of Bnei Brak, he wrote in a Klein publication, Daf al Daf, which is each Daf in a Gemara explanation. So I derived some of that from his beautiful writings. Anyway, Mishnah. Here the Mishnah speaks about someone who writes his estate to someone else. הכותב את נכסיו לאחרים והניח את בניו, מה שעשה עשוי שאין רוח המנוחה ממנו. Horrible. But that's the reality of life. Not long ago, we studied the story of Yaakov and Esav. And as much as the rabbis writes, it's never enough to understand when you're creating such a bigotry, animosity, feuds within the family. It's not only stay there, it can perpetuate it. And even both sons can be well-to-do, it still perpetuated the tremendous emotions and hard feelings when the father showed partiality. So here was a situation that the father left his estate to a stranger, but didn't give his son anything. We just read not long ago in Florida, someone showed me, one of my colleagues in Miami, he showed me a paper of a lady. Can you believe that? She left $1.5 million to her dog, to take care of her dog, and her son and daughter gets nothing. Try to figure that out. But anyway, so here we said, Ma she'asa asui. We need to understand what does that mean, that it takes effect. But he said that the spirit of the sages is displeased with this person, because he basically uprooted the rule that the Torah said. Rambam, Hilchot Nachalot, chapter 6. If one gives entire estate to others, leaving his heirs with absolutely nothing, the sages are displeased with his action, but the gift is valid. Gift, remember this word. This is according to Shmuel's statements, according to which the rabbis disagree with the opinion of Rabban Shimon Gamliel, and their opinion is accepted. Rabban Shimon Gamliel אומר, אם לא היה בניו נוהגים כשורה זכו לטוב. If the sons did not act properly, so Maharam Rothenburg said it's not only banav, it says all those who entitled to Yerusha. Tur said kipshuto, lo na'agu kashura. Anyway, it's all in a matter of evaluation. The Rema, citing the Mordechai, adds that if one instructs that his estate be allowed in the best possible manner, it should be given to his heir, as there is no better designation for the property. It is given better to give the property to the heirs than for it to be consecrated, as is evidence from the incident involving Yosef ben Yoezer, which we're going to learn, Yosef ben Yoezer and his son. That's the Choshel Mishpat 252. The Chatam Sofer in Choshel Mishpat Kuf Nun Aleph brings this Rambam we just mentioned in Chot Nachalot chapter 6, and as we said, the same as Maharam Rothenburg, that's not only Banav, even it's not Banim, it's anybody who is the heir. But he said he asked a question, what does that mean in practical way? You mean to say that V'ha'avarta, when the Torah said you should transfer the estate. So he said avarta, what we learn in Kuftet Zayin, it says that Evra Ginom, Tzedakah Matzil. But as we said, this the Mordechai Taf Reish Kaf Hei says even the Beit HaMikdash, it's not the right way. En Ruach HaChamim Nocha Imenu. Anyway, the question is, this last statement of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, they said that if they don't act properly, he should he is remembered positively, or no. So the Rashbam tells us here, Dilmad nafka mine zara me'ala kidil kaman. We all know the story of Chizkiyahu. Chizkiyahu HaMelech refused to have children, and the Almighty appeared to him and said, Behade de kavshe rachmon el amali. The fact that you have some level of prophecy and you prognosticating that you have this evil Menashe that comes out of this union in the future is in a way none of your business. You have to do your mitzvah of procreating children. What's going to happen in the future generation, in a way, leave it for me. So here the quandary is based on the Gemara in Ketubot 53, the Rashbam here now that says, how do you know? Maybe this kid, maybe this son is not behaving the way it should be. But his children and the future generation maybe will be a pious, righteous, good, wonderful people. Tashma. So we bring several proofs. We start with the first one. The Yosef ben Yoezer, haya lo ben shelo haya noeg kashura. Was, you remember when we study Pirkei Avot, one of the great rabbis is Yosef ben Yoezer? So unfortunately you have a son that didn't follow the proper path in life. Havale ilita de din rei. So there are a few versions. Some said in language of exaggeration that you have a house full of gold. Tosfot tells us here that it's not a pshuto. Ibn Rabbeinu Tam said it's a language of exaggeration. He said kli sheshoavim bo mayim. It's like a vessel full of dinars. Kama kadshei. So he was concerned that it may transfer to his son that not behave properly. So he consecrated it. I highly recommend him to read the Or HaChaim HaKadosh in Parshat Toldot, and the way that Baal Shem Tov explained the Or HaChaim, how Rivka, the story with Esav and Yaakov, what exactly happened there. The key point is that you're thinking in one way and it may happen the other way around. But anyway, Azil Nasiv Bat Gadil Klilei Diyanai Malka. So he went and married the daughter of the king Yanai's crown weaver. Olida Deveitehu. After the son's wife gave birth, Zvinla Binita, he brought her a fish. And again, the Rashbam said that was the minhag in those days, that the kind of healing, kind of refuah, that the yoldot, the women that give birth, used to eat fish in those days. Kra'ah, when he opened the stomach of the fish, all of a sudden, Ashkach ba margalita, he found within the intestine of the fish a pearl. So he decided to do what? To sell it, right? Because the Rashbam said he wants to put it in a king's crown. So Hamralei, the wife, said to him, La tamtia lemalka deshaklach minech bidmei kalile zil amatia legabe gizbari. So she said to him, don't sell it to the king. The king has a full right and he can get everything very cheap. So don't do that. Sell it to the temple treasurer. Right? Bring it to the temple treasurer. And do not appraise it yourself. That's a well-known statement that the Rashbam said to us. ויקחה לאבני אפוד, דני דבטלי אורים ותומים, the moment we no longer have the breastplate. So you bring the pasuk of Ezra, כאדם שאומר לחברו שיבוא משיח, until we see the end of the days, אפוד וחושן מי הלא בטלו, דאין כהן משמש בלא 8 בגדים. So here, that's the whole idea of kinyan. Thank you. The declaration of to the Most High is equivalent to transfer to an ordinary person, and if you offer to sell it to amount less than its worth, you will not be able to change your mind, because that's basically consecrated. So therefore he said, Ela leshaimua inhu, you should leave it for them, that they should appraise it. That's basically what we study also in Yerushalmi, the very beginning, the first chapter. So the Lashem Haaretz Umloah, the moment you consecrated it. Anyway, Amtiyeh, so he brought it to the temple treasurer. Shamua betlisei leiliata dindrei. It's a large amount of money. It's 13 vessels full of dinar. Amre lei sheva ika shit leika. He said to them, there are 7 basically iliata of dinars at our disposal to pay you for the pearl, but we don't have additional 6. אמר לו 7 עבו לי אישית הרי מוקדשות לשמיים. Give me 7 in exchange for the pearl, and the other 6 I'm giving it to heaven. In a sense, it's the Beit HaMikdash. עמדו וכתבו, which means they put it in the Ritva explained the first explanation. Also the Rashbam said either they put it in the book of accountant, or the diary, or the remembrance book, the good deed that people have. They said, עמדו וכתבו יוסף בן יועזר הכניס 1 ובנו הכניס 6. ויקרא דאמרי יוסף בן יועזר הכניס 1 ובנו הכניס 7. So the big question if it's praising the Father, the praising the Son, but the key is it's they wrote it as an honor. Obviously the Meforshim said it was the sages of the generation instructed them. So the Gemara rejected and said, מדכאמרי הכניס בכלל דשפיר עבד. You mean to say they did right? אדרבה, מדכאמרי הוציא מכלל דלאו שפיר עבד. אלא מעלקה למשמע מינה. You cannot derive from our discussion, because it's a disputation among the Tanaim, the Rashbam said. מאיה ועלה, תשמד אמר לשמואל, אוקיי, אמר לשמואל לרב יהודה, שיננה לו תהווה איבוע החסנתה, ואפילו מברא בישה לברתבה. So he said, don't be there when they do such a thing. Do not be in a house where inheritance is transferred away from its rightful heir, even if it transferred from the wicked son to the good son. וכל שכן מברא לברתה, and for sure not from a son to the daughter. So it means the sages hold that inheritance should not be transferred in any case. And that's an important message to all of us. Why you need to say you should not be in a house, some rabbi said, is the whole concept of doing wrong. And then it happens what King David described beautifully in Tehillim Kuf Tet, that the bad feeling and animosity it's not ending just by sons. It can go on and on forever. So obviously there is a lot to talk, but running out of time. The Reb Chaim, I just want to say that Reb Chaim Kanievsky said that's we derive from the story of Avraham Avinu, Bnei Apilagshim Asher LaAvraham. The whole idea of what exactly happened there, and how we derive from Avraham Avinu the proper way to treat the children in order to bring the right way of Torah and Shalom Bayit.